Hello dear Pokitto backers. I'm very glad to hear that some of you are already receiving your Pokittos. The shipping arrangement that we have with Omniva seems to be working. So many of you are eager to get started, and this video is the first in a series that's going to be about getting started with Pokitto. Today I'm using just a normal webcam, and I'm at my warehouse, so apologies for the poor quality of sound and the poor quality of the video, but we'll try to manage. Today we'll be opening the box and we'll be assembling the Pokitto according to the instructions. So if you want to keep all of that a secret still for yourself and you want to wait for your Pokitto to arrive, then please don't watch this video. But if you already have your Pokitto and you're interested in learning more, what's inside of the box and how to assemble it and how to connect it to the computer, then please continue.
Okay, so here's the Pokitto box. The Pokitto box is a very thin box, and the reason for this thinness is so that in some countries, because it's shipped as a letter, it will come directly through the letterbox to your home and you won't have to go into the post office to get it. It depends on the country, but that's the reason why we use such a very thin box. Let's open the box. Inside of the box you have the instruction manual, and then you must open carefully because there are a lot of loose parts. So there's the back cover, and we'll come back to it. There's the front cover with a display protected inside, a USB cable, the buttons, a silicone button, 4 Lego pegs, and 2 screws. And please be careful when you open the box so that you don't lose the screws. In the future we will be putting these small bits into some sort of a small plastic bag, but in the early bird packages, at least the ones that I've sent out, they are loose. So be careful so that you don't lose the screws. So let's put the box away and put the parts on the table. The first thing you'll notice is that the PCB is attached to the back part, and this is for a good reason. The Pokitto contains a LiPo battery, and for shipping safety reasons, it must be shipped like this. So when you start assembling the Pokitto, you need a cross screwdriver, a cross-headed screwdriver like Phillips screwdriver, and then you need some sort of a pair of scissors. So the first thing we might do is we might take this, we have to take this circuit board away from the back part first. Okay, so let's put it over here, the back part over there, and the front part and the buttons over here. And let's start looking at the instructions. So over here in the front page it gives you all the parts and what you need to assemble. And the first thing that you have to do is that you have to cut the buttons out. So the buttons come in a stem like this. Okay, so you have to cut the thin parts that are connecting the buttons to the stem. Do not cut anything else. So let's start cutting the buttons, and as you can see, I'm cutting as close to the button as possible. Okay, over here, close to the button, like that, so that this attaching stem stays in this big part over here, and the button is quite clean. That there's no extra bit left into the button. Okay, so the stem is cut out. We don't need this anymore. We have the buttons right there. And the first thing we have to do now is first we take the back part and we place the silicone button, and you will notice which way around it goes. It goes like that. All right. Then we take the circuit board and we take this power slider switch, which has a thin. It has a thin. If you look at the part over here, it has a thin bit over here. That thin bit comes upwards. So we place it on top of the power switch, like that, between the PCB and the power switch. Then we take one of the two identical screws, the one that was holding the PCB in place. Drop the screw in, drop a second screw in. If you're a child, or you've bought this for a child, it might be a good idea for an adult to help do this. Okay, so the back part is now ready. We have the silicone buttons at the back, we have the power switch, and we have the two screws that are holding the PCB in place. Just see that it's flush and it's good with the back part. Now let's take the front part and take this piece. This is the LCD holder. Take the one screw that's left over, that's a bit thicker and shorter, and drop it through the LCD holder like this. It's a bit difficult to see. This is how it's supposed to go. You take this one and you put it in the middle of the front part, and you tighten. You don't have to make it very tight. It can move about like this. Okay, so that's the point of this. The whole thing is that it moves like this. Okay, so now the front part is almost ready. Now we take the LCD, and the LCD has a protective film. You can either take it off or you can leave it, whichever way you want. See that the latch of the display connector is open. It's open when this black part is as far this way as possible. So you pull the latch, downwards to open it. Now slide the flex connector inside. You don't have to be very careful, because it's really not so fragile. It's not as easy as you might think to break this. Now push both sides of the latch as far up as they go, as far inside as they go. And when they're inside, like this, when they are inside, the flex connector is tightly held in place. And when it's tightly held in place, that's when you will get a proper picture out of the display. So the display is now ready, as you can see. And we take the front case. But before we do that, let's take the Lego pegs and put the Lego pegs into the corners. You can use less than 4 Lego pegs if you want to make your case extra easy to open. You could, for example, use just 2, because it will work. It will work just fine like that. But I put all the 4 in place. You can see the Lego pegs are in place. Now take the 2 parts side by side like this. Slide the display in place. Slide the display in place and turn this LCD holder. It might be too tight. In my case, I made it a bit too tight. Let's open it up a little bit. It was too tight. It doesn't have to be so tight. Now the LCD is in place and the LCD holder is holding it in place. Now your final step is to drop the buttons in place. And please notice that A and B buttons are different from each other. They have these guiding stems over here that will only go in a certain position into their slots. So now we have A and B in place like that. And we're ready to do the final assembly. And this is something that you should do carefully. And the reason for that is that otherwise the buttons will jump out from their place. So you carefully turn this, and you carefully start putting the Lego. I recommend you put one side first. You put the Legos into the hole. Do it carefully, otherwise the buttons will jump out. And I gently I push the case together from each corner until I hear a click, and the Pokitto is done. We are ready. Now some of you may wonder, what is this program that starts when you get your Pokitto? This is actually a testing program, and to show you the testing program, I can use this SD card. It contains a song by a world-famous artist. And the reason for this testing program is that this is the testing program that we use to see that all functions are operating properly before we ship these. and one of the functions is to have a loud sound. Everything works. Okay, our Pokitto works. Final step that I want to show you in this video is how to connect the Pokitto to the computer. So we have two buttons right here. We have a button here and a button here. This button here is, when you press it down, the Pokitto knows you want to go into a flash drive mode. This button here is reset. And the reason why they're put like this is that once you learn how to use them, it's easy for you to learn how to reset. I'm just going to take the SD card out so that it doesn't shout so much. So I can feel where the reset button is, and I can reset the device just without even looking, okay? The process for putting the Pokitto into USB flash mode, and I'm just going to use a longer cable here so that it's easier to bring to the camera. I'm going to take a longer cable, this cable, attach it to the computer. So the process of how to connect the Pokitto to the computer is as follows. You connect the Pokitto to the USB drive like that, and you press this button down and you tap this button. You keep this button down and you tap this button, and you will hear a sound from your computer, and your computer will show the contents of the Pokitto as a flash drive. Let's reset. So we have reset the Pokitto by pressing from here, and now we want to connect it to as a flash drive. I press the lower button down, that's for the flash mode, and I tap the reset button, and the Pokitto comes up as a flash drive. So reset, hold the flash drive button, tap the reset button, and you will get the Pokitto as a flash drive. You can also do so that you hold down the flash drive button and you turn the Pokitto on, in which case it will automatically go into the flash drive mode. So that is how you connect the Pokitto to the computer. In order to program the Pokitto with new binaries, the only thing that you have to do is that you have to delete the contents of the Pokitto, and then you just have to copy a new binary into the folder that you are seeing over here. That's basically how you can easily drag and drop program the Pokitto. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, I don't have any more time for a longer video, but more videos are coming up this week. Bye-bye.